this is Dr. Tucker once again, and we're going to make some final remarks about natural law, its present and its future. Natural law today brings up some important questions and also some interesting opportunities. Let's take a look. Natural law has come under some criticism in recent years for a couple of reasons. One reason is that it's closely associated with Thomas Aquinas and therefore Catholic Christianity. Is it a religious perspective, or is it really one that's based on reason? Thomas Aquinas argued that natural law was based on reason, that it could find common ground between Christian and non-Christian and even among non-theists. Those who disagree on faith issues can still agree, he would say, on what is basic to human nature. Aristotle would certainly concur. Remember that natural law is much bigger than Thomas Aquinas and Catholicism. It includes the philosophy of Aristotle, the Stoics, the deists, and many others. But is there really such a thing as human nature? Many more recently have said there is not. Existentialists, for example, believe that you create your own nature, your own purpose, and your own meaning. Marxism tends to say that human nature is molded by society. People are what society makes them. If there is such a thing as human nature, shouldn't anthropology, sociology, or psychology be able to identify it? Well, anthropology has been more interested in the last 2 centuries in identifying the cultural differences than they have the commonalities. Have you watched Taboo? Have you read National Geographic? But in our globalized world, we need a worldwide ethic. We must seek common values, and these are likely to be found in our human nature. That is our commonality as human beings. As human beings, we all have an innate sense of dignity, for example. That dignity, then, has become the basis of the United Nations Charter for Human Rights. Each culture, philosophy, or religion must find its own way to establish human dignity. Ultimately, though, we share a commitment to dignity as a part of our humanity, and it does form a common basis for international human rights. What about people who are not religious? Jonathan Haidt, from a non-religious perspective, claims to have found the first draft of the moral mind by studying common values in a wide variety of cultures. Steven Pinker, a convinced atheist, argues that from psychological and linguistic approaches, there is a human nature and that human nature can provide a basis for a common morality. Pinker places a particular emphasis on the human capacity for empathy as the foundation for ethics and morality. Could this provide a common ground between faith believers and agnostics for the good of humanity as a whole? Probably, but not unless we are willing to set aside the very heated arguments about theism versus atheism. It would be sad if the animosity of that battle should keep us from finding common ground that could lead to improvement of the human condition. I find recent brain studies to be particularly interesting. Is it possible that we can find the seeds of morality in the chemistry of the brain itself? Is a moral mind also a healthy brain? Paul Zak has a very interesting TED Talk on the role of oxytocin in our morality. Could oxytocin be the moral molecule? But isn't cruelty, selfishness, and so many other evils also a part of our human nature? Doesn't human nature make us evil as well as good? Well, that's a reasonable question. It seems clear to me that human beings are capable of far more evil and cruelty than other animals, and far more capable of goodness and heroism than other animals. Real and extreme evil and real goodness seem uniquely human. Human nature has both good and evil, so why would we say that natural law then leads us to ethical behavior if our human nature has both? The answer to that question is found in reason. A part of what it means to be human is that we are rational. We alone can contemplate our actions. We can reflect, and we can choose. We can choose to follow our higher nature and rise above animal instincts, developing the best of human nature and leave the base things behind. Human beings, unlike other animals, can reason and improve ourselves. I find disconcerting so many studies recently that attempt to explain human ethics by studying animal behavior. It's as though human beings have only animal instincts and not the capacity to rise above the shadows and pursue our higher nature. We do not have to follow mindless instincts. Human beings have a light side and a shadow side, and we can choose to develop our better nature. Our ability to reflect allows us to separate the light from the shadow and to choose, and hopefully choose the good. Today, as much as ever, we need a global ethic. We need standards that transcend nations, cultures, and religions. Aristotle, Aquinas, and others thought that we could find this by studying human nature. Some today seem to echo this idea, even from a different starting point. What do you think? As you reflect, reason, think, and read, what is the highest expression of human nature? Great novels are just as interesting in this regard as philosophies, religions, and science. Take insights from all of these sources, and then the more important question becomes, how can you live in conformity with your highest human nature? Thank you.